Okay, so we are going to have a test over 4.1 through 4.5. Today we're doing the 4.5 notes. That test will be on Friday, so we're going to review Thursday. Tomorrow we're going to work on the assignment. Today we're going to do the notes. So on Monday you wrote down holiday, and today we're doing on Tuesday this warm-up, right? You done? Thank you. So, on number 1, the only one on the warm-up, right? All right? 3 over 9 reduces to what? Okay, so 3 over 9 reduces to 1/3. And what do I do with these powers? Subtract, right? Put that way. That thing in your hand. So, 5 top minus the bottom. So 5 minus -3 is like adding. 5 plus 3 gives us x to the power of 8. Okay, now, again, top minus bottom, right? So we're going to be doing -7. Dang. -7 minus, and if there's no power, what goes there? This is y to the 1. So if there's no power, you need to write a 1 there. Cool? So, -7 minus 1 is what? -8, right? So that's y to the -8 on top. And then with the z's, -2 minus 11. What's -2 minus 11? -13. Now, we have learned, and we know that we can't have negative powers. So the negative powers bring it to the bottom, right? Bring it down. So this goes down, right? Now what stays on the top is the 1 and the x to the 8th power. We don't have to write the 1 there. We have x to the 8th power right here. Okay, on the bottom, we have that 3. And then the y power and the z power, those come down. So y to the 8 and z to the 13. Okay? So again, say that again. So it was negative, but when it comes down to the bottom, it turns positive. Same thing with the 8. Yeah. So the y to the positive 8 on the bottom. Yeah. So that's our warm-up. Now, I want to go over quizzes. So, okay, here's our notes. We are doing rationals and turning them into radicals, taking radicals, turning them into rationals, right? So, have you ever seen a fraction in the exponents before? Well, today I'm going to show you what's that all about, okay? So, rational means fraction, okay? Basically. If you got a fraction in your exponent, that's a rational type of function, okay? What's good? What's good? Take it out. Hey, thanks. I can't. All right, now, here's the rule. The numerator of the fraction goes inside, and the denominator of the fraction goes outside. Y'all know what numerator and denominator mean? Top and bottom, right? So another way to think about it is the top goes inside, the bottom, bless you, goes outside. Now you can see that in this little diagram here. A is on the top, and that went on the inside of the radical. B is on the bottom, and that went on the outside of the radical. So top goes inside, bottom goes outside. We don't have headphones in here, right? Tell them bye. Wake up. All right, so let's talk about this. By the way, in that middle section, we know that there is a fraction, which means rational, right? All right. So, right here, go ahead and write rational. This is what a rational function looks like. It's got fraction power. And then this is called a radical. Rational, radical. Rational has a fraction, radical has a radical. Okay? But they're both pretty radical, if you ask me. Right? Good joke, right? I don't hear enough laughter. Enough joy, right? You with me? Alright, well, put your head up. Write it down right here. Alright, now here's an example. Let's do x to the power of 3 over 5. Okay? Now I want to turn that rational into a radical. So here's what you do. Equals. Put your square root sign. The base is going to be inside, so the x goes inside. Now, again, top goes in, bottom goes out. That's the rule, okay? So what's the top of the fraction? Top of the fraction is what? 3, and that's going to go in, meaning right here on the inside. What is it? Oh, no, those are notes. So we're going to do this to show you how to do it, and then I'll give you the assignment. Now, the bottom goes out here on the left. Little 5. That's how it's done. Top goes in, bottom goes out. Write that down. Where's your pencil? Weird. Invisible writing, I guess. All right, number 1. Let's try an example. All ready? So, first things first. Is this rational or radical? Rational, because you see the fraction, right? So that means I'm going to turn it into a radical. And then the base is 5, so go ahead and put that 5 there, okay? Now, remember, from your fraction, top goes in, bottom goes out. So the 1 is on top, it's going to go right next to that 5 on the inside. The bottom 2 is going to go far left on the outside. That's it. Now, what do you call it when there's a 2 in front of the square sign? Square root sign. Well, basically, that's what a square root is. Like, a regular square root sign is implied a 2, okay? So just so you know. So basically, if you see a 1/2 power, that means square root. That's all it means. Okay? Now, number 2. That's a rational, so I'm going to write it as a radical. Base is x. Top goes in, bottom goes out. So 2 goes here or here? Right here? Okay, yeah, so the 2 goes in right here. And the 3 goes out over here. That's it. Okay? Now, let's make this more hard, right? Which one? Yes. But before we get there, on number 3, what's tricky on number 3 is there's a negative power. Now, we learned negative does what? It brings it down, right? You know, remember that? When we have a negative power, it brings it below the fraction, right? So that's what we're going to have to do. By the way, wake up. Wake up. Now, here's what this means. If you see a negative power, here's what I want you to do. Draw a fraction bar and bring it down, right? Now, when you bring something down, what's left on top? It's not 0, it's 1, okay? So on top, still going to have a 1. But on the bottom, let's put our square root, okay? Square root, the base is 6. And now, does that 4 go in or out? Remember, the top goes in, right? So the 4 goes in. And it's kind of right small here. And then the bottom goes out here. So it's kind of weird because there was a negative. All that means is you put it under the fraction bar, 1 goes on top, okay? So if you could do that one, 4. Now, what's different about 4 is that instead of just one, like the base being one thing, now we have 2 parts to our base, right? Lies. All right, so number 4, again, negative power means fraction bar, bring it down. Yeah. Now, what's going to be left on top? 1. 1 on top. So I got my square root. Now I'm going to use parentheses 2x here. Yeah, so the top goes in, and the bottom goes out. Now it's kind of hard to see. Let me write it bigger here. 1. Thank you. It is easy, right? No, it's not. It can be once you figure it out. Some of us are still figuring it out. All right. Number 5. So again, a negative power means I'm going to bring it down. So fraction bar, bring it down. On top is going to be left with a 1. And again, put your radical sign. Your base is x, y in parentheses, right? Everyone up here in the front. X, y is there. 3 goes in or out. In, because top goes in. Bottom goes out. So again, I'll write it bigger so we can see it. Okay. Now 6 is tricky because there's an extra little negative out front, right? All right, so now, okay. So this negative sign is a negative 1, and that's actually going to stay. That does not go down because it's not in the parentheses, okay? Is everyone with me? Woo! All right, so again, this brings it down, but what stays on top right here is negative 1. So equals negative 1 on top. On the bottom, I got my x, y. Top goes in, 1. Bottom goes out, 3. So it would be negative 1 over 3 xy to the 1. Okay, now I showed you a bunch of examples of going from rational to radical. Now the bottom part is radical to rational. Can you do this backwards now? So, let's try it. Let me show you what I mean. First of all, we just said if there's no number there, not 0, if there's no number on the square root, it's implied that it's a square root, a 2, okay? So go and put a little 2 right there. And I'll say it again. If there's no number on your radical, it's implied that it's a 2. Yeah, please. Try not to touch stuff, yeah. And if there's no power on the 4, what power is that? 1. So again, radical has a power 2. Every other number has a normal power of 1. Okay, now here's the deal. If I want to go from radical to power, or radical to rational, rewrite the base of 4. And is everyone looking right here? Okay. Inside's on top. Outside's on the bottom. Inside's on top. Outside's on the bottom. That's it. I went from the radical back to the rational, back to the fraction. Inside on top, outside on the bottom. Let's do another one. If there's no power on this x, what power goes there? 1, okay? Now, my base is x, so write x. Which number goes on top, in or out? The in on top, and then the outside on the bottom. That's it. All right, let's make this harder. Number 9, what if it's on the bottom? That means it's going to be what type of power? Yeah, see, look over here. We brought it down when there was a negative, right? So again, bottom means negative power. Here's what I mean. What power is on this x if there's no power there? There's a little 1, right? Okay? So here's the deal. My base is x, right? But everything's on the bottom, so it has to be a negative. Let me make that look right. Okay, so this is x to the negative, and inside over outside. What over what? 1 over 4. Does everyone see why I wrote a negative power? Because it's already on the bottom. Okay. 10, is that on the bottom? Yeah, on number 10, everything's on the bottom. So that means that power is going to be negative. Is everyone looking up here with me? So again, x, and then since it's on the bottom, negative, in over out, 2 over 3. Yes. Try not to let it distract you. Try not to let it distract you. No, just try not to let it distract you. If you can, try not to let it distract you. Yes. Yes. Okay. No. Okay, so let's get back on track. Number 11. So, is number 11 on the bottom of a fraction? Okay, it's not. So instead of negative, this will be a positive power. Did you wash your hands? Okay. You got hand sanitizer if you want to. It's up to you. Now, the base is 3x. So go ahead and write 3x. Now, the last time we've been doing inside over outside. Now, notice, this 4 is not inside, but the same rule applies, okay? So if it's way outside, over here to the right, that's still going to go on top over that 5, okay? So it's interchangeable, whether it's inside or way, way outside to the right, same thing, okay? And then last but not least, this is on the bottom, right? So it's going to be x to the negative, and then 6 over 5. Again, interchangeable. That 6 can be way inside or way far out to the right. It'll still be on top, okay? Now, I'm going to give you the assignment so you can get a head start on it, but we'll have tomorrow to work on it, and then review Thursday and test Friday, okay?